Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 6th round of the 1962 season, the German Grand Prix. It was held on the 5th of August, it had 31 entries, 26 of them took part in the race with 10 ending up retiring. The race consisted of 15 laps completed in 2 hours, 38 minutes and 45 seconds. Dan Gurney started the race from pole with Graham Hill in 2nd, Clark 3rd, Surtees 4th, McLaren 5th and Joe Bonnier started from 6th. After a phenomenal drive, Graham Hill took the checkered flag to win the German Grand Prix from Surtees, who finished 2nd 2.5 seconds after Hill. Gurney finished in 3rd, he was 4.4 seconds down. Clark ended up in 4th, 42.1 seconds behind. McLaren crossed the line in 5th, he was 1 minute 19.6 seconds down, and Rodriguez took the last point scoring position, he was 1 minute 23.8 seconds down. Graham Hill also set the fastest lap of the race, a 10 minute 12.2 second lap. We are here at the beautiful Nordschleife where a lap starts off with a long sprint down into turn 1, a slow left-hander that feeds into turn 2, a tight right-hand hairpin. This is followed by a series of varying speed corners, including this blind medium speed right-hander. Be very careful coming through here as one small mistake could end in disaster. From here the track opens up a bit until we come into this slow left-hander that goes over a small bridge. After a short while we come into another slow left-hander that also goes over a bridge, which leads up through this blind right-hander. Take it easy and don't use too much power through here because it is very easy to spin the car. The track opens up once more until we reach one of the most iconic corners in motorsports, the carousel. Brake early, aim for the second tree from the right and feed the car through the bowl, assuring you are not using excessive power. Further along the track we come into the mini carousel. This one's a bit easier to navigate, however you should still be cautious. But this brings us into a very long right-hander that leads onto the longest straight in Formula 1. Eventually we find our way into the final corner of the track, a fast left-hander that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Nordschleife Circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the German Grand Prix, coming through this slow left-hander where I make an absolutely stupid rookie mistake. For some reason I started braking way too late. I locked up my wheels that forced my car into a spin, and well, then the engine stalled, so that was pretty much it for qualifying. Haven't been doing too well in qualifying in the past couple of races, have we? Anyway, here are the previous Grand Prix winners. It's been a while since we've done anything here. Substantial anyway. But let's see the grid lineup. We have Graham Hill on pole with John Surtees in 2nd. Phil Hill is 3rd. Bruce McLaren 4th. Jim Clark 5th. And Dan Gurney rounding off the top 6. Maston Gregory is in 7th, followed by Lorenzo Bandini in 8th. 9th is Ricardo Rodriguez, followed by Willie May Rees in 10th. Richie Ginther is 11th, Trevor Taylor is 12th, Tony Maggs 13th, 14th is Joe Bonnier, followed by Ines Ireland in 15th, Giancarlo Baghetti 16th, 17th is Joe Siffert, De Beaufort is 18th, and bringing up the rear we have Jackie Lewis in 19th, and obviously Andy is in 20th, who hasn't even started his flying lap. All of that happened on the out lap, so that's that. And we are off for the German Grand Prix. Hopefully a good race for us here today. I had a decent start. I tried to get around these cars, however they didn't really want to let me, and then Joe Siffert started to lose control of the car, so I decided to lift off the power a bit because I wanted to avoid crashing into him. And good thing I did that because, well, I managed to slip up into 18th already, so that's pretty good. As we are now taking a look at Giancarlo Baghetti, I go on the inside of him through this right-hander and we move up into 17th now, challenging Ireland for position as well. We pass him and we are now up in 16th, so a pretty good first couple of corners as we now chase after Jack Lewis. Hopefully we'll be able to overtake him as well. He brakes very early, and even though I come from the back, I get very close to him. However, I decided to kind of let him go. There was no real reason to try and risk doing anything stupid this early on in the race, as we now have another look at the start. Once again, I tried to get around everyone, however, they were kind of getting in my way, and then John Surtees started losing control of his car, was all over the place, and well, I was kind of afraid that he might damage my car as well, so I held back. And here we are overtaking Jackie Lewis as we come through this left-hander. We're now looking at Tony Maggs, who we overtake a little bit later on, and we're now right behind Trevor Taylor, who I should be passing very soon. And there we are now in 13th, chasing after Joe Bonnier. However, I brake very hard coming into this corner, trying to stay in front, and that once again locks up my wheels. I spin and we are back down in 17th, so that was a stupid mistake by me. I also kind of hit Ireland's car, but we are both okay, so we are good to continue. As we now come through this right-hander, I managed to pass Taylor and Jack Lewis and someone else. Eventually I overtake Taylor as well as we come through this slow set of corners here. I'm looking at Tony Maggs. Taylor cuts the track and we are now down in 15th again. Very naughty on Taylor's part, but what can you do? Eventually I catch back up to him and move back into 14th. Now looking once again at Tony Maggs. This is still on the opening lap, by the way. A lot of action happened on this opening lap as we now come through this blind right-hander that goes up this hill. I eventually once again overtake Tony Maggs and we are in 13th. Then coming through this slow right-hander, I catch up to Maston Gregory. He brakes in front of me, probably brake checking me. I wasn't really paying attention, but eventually I make it around him and up into 12th as we now come through this slow medium speed right-hander and overtake Jim Clark in the process. So we move up into 11th, chasing once again after Joe Bonnier. Hopefully we can catch him soon enough. As I come through this right-hander again, I brake a bit too much, spin the car. However, this time I managed to catch it quite beautifully and continue on almost seamlessly. As we now come out of the mini carousel, I overtake Joe Bonnier. Then Willie Maurice decides to put his car right in front of me and brake hard. However, I managed to get around him as well, and we are now in 9th and trying to look at a way to get past John Surtees, who keeps his car right up where he wants it, denying me the possibility to overtake him. And then coming through these final corners, for some reason John Surtees decided to stop his car right in the middle of the track. Not entirely sure why. I crashed into him. Unfortunately, I was a bit slow to react to all of that, and I stalled the engine, so that's the end of the race for Andy Higgs once again. Man, we cannot get a break, can we? This was one hell of a awful season for Andy, and here is a replay of that. There we see Surtees. It looks like he went off the track a little bit, but that still doesn't explain why he was going 10 kilometers per hour. That's kind of stupid, but that's that. And here we are. Here we see Dan Gurney coming around to finish lap 2 of the race and posting the fastest lap as well, so very well done to him. He's actually leading the race at this point, so he's doing quite well. And here we see Tony Maggs, who has some problems with his brakes and, well, cuts the track a little bit and ends up on the earth embankment there to the right of the track. So he is out as we come towards the end of lap 2 once again. Well, Ginther comes to the end of lap 2 and pulls into the pits to retire. Apparently he had a gearbox problem. Later on, Trevor Taylor came into the pits as well, also with a gearbox problem. That's quite odd, 2 gearbox problems in succession. That's really odd. Now we move on to lap 3. We are looking at Innes Ireland, who had some issues with his suspension, so he is also out of the race. Now moving on to lap 5, we are looking at Jim Clark, who also has a problem with his suspension. Quite odd, considering that they're one after the other. And we are now looking at Karel Godin de Beaufort, who's coming through this left-hander, and we see smoke coming out of his car. This means he pretty much destroyed his engine by this point, so he is also out of the German Grand Prix. As we now move on to the final lap of the race, and we see Gurney coming around to take the win of the 1962 German Grand Prix. Congratulations to him. Phil Hill finished in second, Bandini third, fourth Graham Hill, Bonnier fifth, and Willie Mays in sixth. Congratulations to Graham Hill as well. These are going to be his first points of the season. Quite interesting considering that in real life he did actually win the championships. It doesn't really look like he will be able to this time though. And here are the retirements. Unfortunately, we number ourselves among them. Even worse, we were the first to retire, or rather Andy was the first to retire, so not a very good race for Andy once again. Up until now it was engine failures, one after the other. This time it was a stupid accident with John Surtees, which was probably kind of partially my fault and partially Surtees' fault as well. Here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 108th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 8 pole positions, has set 16 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 72 races, 57 of them in the points, has won 35 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 388 points, has retired 36 times, has experienced 2,362 out of 2,919 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 35 gold trophies, and as an extension, 35 podiums. And here is a very quick look at the championship standings. Phil Hill is now in the lead with Dan Gurney in second, Joe Bonnier third, Bandini and McLaren sharing fourth, Willie Mays is 6th. The last person to score points is Joe Siffert down in 15th, and at the very bottom of the standings we have Andy Higgs, unfortunately. So let's have a look at the Constructors Championship now, and here we see Porsche leading the Constructors Championship with Ferrari in second, Cooper are third, Team Lotus fourth, fifth are Ecurie Galois, sixth Bowmaker Yeoman. The last team to score points are Scuderia Filippinetti down in ninth, and at the bottom of the standings are obviously Brabham Racing. So that was the German Grand Prix. Once again, another disappointing race for Andy Higgs. And unlike the previous races, this was due to an accident. A very strange accident indeed. And as you could tell, we have started dropping points, or rather results, as it may be. So that's going to make things interesting from here on out. But at least we know that our engine now holds up. Once again, thank you to everyone who commented in the previous few videos and helped me to figure out what was going on. Anyway, our next race is the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Hopefully things will go a little bit better there. I would really like to at least finish one race this season. It's starting to be very annoying, frustrating, and even embarrassing. I mean, seriously, we haven't finished a single race so far. Well, kind of technically yes, but that's neither here nor there, because although we completed 90% of race distance at the Belgian Grand Prix, we still ended up retiring on the final lap. So we did kind of finish a race, but not really. Not in the way I would like. But anyway, that is the end of this video. Not much more to say about any of that, really. That's pretty much it. So don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and Homefront, so if you're interested in any of those games, there will be a link in the description to my second channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.